but out there that maybe have heard about meditation, want to meditate, but don't know how to go about it, what would you suggest?
As the first part of this program that you did so wonderfully announced in the promotion of this particular interview is RPM, recognize, plug in, and manifest. Recognizing God as it moves through everything. All of life, if God is life, then God is everywhere. And it's not only believing that in the logical state, it's actually beginning to integrate that here. I call this particular phase of RPM making conscious contact, close encounter of the best kind, understanding the
Yeah.
importance of meditation and how to do it. And the way you do that is by doing nothing. You have to get out of your own way. Breathing is a catalyst that brings you through the ceiling of thought so we can begin to hear the profound, deafening silence that we all have within us. And when you plug into that God system, when you plug into that source, you will shave miles off of your life. So again, we no longer live in a time of effort.
Okay. And so when you say we no longer live in a time of effort, um, and I'm not trying to debate you, but I am saying that that is letting people know that the rent still has to be paid, the house payment still has to be made, the children still have to be fed, and those are everyday efforts in this time and age of financial instability for many. But effortless for you means
Effortless for me means finding some way inside of myself to feel a connection to something greater than myself. And to
and
be
what
able,
would that
you can call it God, you can call it higher self, you can call it Jesus, you can call it source, call it creator, whatever makes you feel in, here's the key, in your power. Because in your power is where lies everything you want. When I said effortless, I didn't mean that you have to denounce your life responsibilities the practical way. These are all parts of your life and parts of your growing and how you can move yourself towards effortlessness. Now, it doesn't mean, again, denounce all the things that you have that are important, that take priority over anything. What I am suggesting is there is a way that you can move into a state of effortlessness, because if you don't begin that process now, when will you? And that applies to anyone.
I see. So, Keith, please understand it's not been my nature to be a bit of a rebel all my life.
Love it.
So when I ask questions, I don't mean to be, um, you know, debating, but I'm just saying that where does Trump and all of the backstabbing negativity come in on all this?
I don't know
And
where. Go ahead, love.
and ISIS and all that stuff. Where does that come in to this new world?
It does. It does come from, and this is hard for people to swallow. This the truth. The truth is not about comfort. The truth is about liberation. It is not a medicine. It's a killer. And it's hard for people to swallow the idea that we collectively have created these scenarios in the world. I don't really ever play the political card, but I do have my thoughts about the whole political arena. Um, if you win in the presidency or any seat of power is about you, you're incorrect. If the person is true in their vocation of wanting to be in such a powerful seat, if their position is about everyone else but themselves, that is the agenda.
Okay. And so you're saying that we are responsible for that happening.
Yes. It's all our choice. You know,
Well, it is, truly it is, because if we vote for that kind of person in, we did it. You're
there you
right.
have it.
Yeah.
And for me, not to mention names, but if someone is wanting to get in a powerful seat and they're using any form of separation tactics to win that seat and to win the popular vote, it's not the highest path. The highest path is not about separation. United we stand, divided we fall. You begin to divide, everything begins to collapse. So it's about unity, it's about unity, it's about unity. There are no lines between states. There are no lines between countries. These are all invisible lines and separation within ourselves. And so for me, it's about unification of the world and people. Now, I understand there may be a part of that process that we might have to take baby steps. Now, I get that part of it because, you can't expect just to jump off of a mountain and think that you're going to survive and gravity will have no effect on you if you are not a spiritual master. That's just a dumb way of it. But, having an intention towards uniting the world is the only way to go. That's coming out of the Piscean age into the Aquarian age, where there's balance and unification and a bringing together of people around the world, because everyone has something that everyone else does not. And imagine what kind of world that can be if everyone lives in sharing. There's no more hunger. No one is in a position of needing medical attention. That is a society that my entire life's work is about.
Okay. So tell us about your story, Keith. It's a very interesting one.
Growing up, about the age of 6 years old, I had 4 basic questions that were resounding within me. Where did I come from? Why am I here? Who am I? And where am I going? And these 4 questions were impatient. They wanted answers immediately. But little did I realize over the course of my life, these questions would become the unfoldment of my life. At the age of 15, I wanted to be a Catholic priest. My dad gives me an electric guitar. Godhood goes in the closet. The electric guitar stays out. I lived that lifestyle. Had a girlfriend of 10 years. She left. I went into a dark night of the soul, desperation, despair, heart pangs. But little did I realize her leaving me was the greatest gift that I could ever receive. Because one night the pain was so intense, I began to say a fervent prayer to God, saying, I need to hear your voice. Though I said this prayer 3 weeks to a month, I don't believe it was the length of time I said this prayer to convince God, now I think he's serious. Let me make an appearance. As I said for Suzanne in Massachusetts, I had so much passion and sincerity in my very first asking. You can liken this to Suzanne's request. I need to hear your voice. It's bringing emotion to me now. But that kind of passion, Suzanne, about your request to change those things in your life is the stargate to everything you could have ever wanted. It's passion and sincerity. And one morning, I was awakened out of my sleep by a voice. I was thrown into absolute presence, into the light. And I was surrounded and engulfed and consumed by God. It was my hair. It was my eyes. It was my shirt. It was the bed I was lying on. It was everything. And in that moment, the voice said, Keith, pick up your tape recorder, go on your sofa and press record, and let your mouth move. And I said, what will I speak about? And it said, Keith, do this, and the thoughts will come. There was no time for fear. I sit down on the sofa, press record on the tape player, and a voice began to move through me beyond my own will of doing so. And I wrote these dictations for about a year. And one day in meditation, the voice said, okay, Keith, that's enough with the writing. Let your thoughts, feelings, and life experiences be the glue that brings the rest of this book, the divine principle, anchoring heaven on earth, together, and it will become a bestseller. And so after 8 years of manipulating, writing, sculpturing more than anything, this book, it became bestseller. And now I'm grateful in my life doing the same type of work, but in a more broader, expanded way.
Mm-hmm. On that question, we have another person in the room, and maybe you can help her because she's on a spiritual quest, Keith. And her name is Emily, and she's from Connecticut. And she says, I'm interested in aligning with a couple of women to do some spiritual work with them. Do you see this happening for me? Blessings, Emily from Connecticut.
Absolutely. Hi, Emily from Connecticut. Good to see you, dear. Absolutely. Same rule applies. Believe, but here's the thing that I didn't say with the first person who asked the question is your wanting, your yearning, your hunger, your intention is the halfway point to creating that which you want for yourself. Your intention is the halfway point. You started the ball rolling. The universe is already starting the manifestation process. Now, what I would suggest, and I use this word in quotes, be careful of your intention behind behind your request, because that is the tell all. That is really the truth of what you are asking. So do your
Oh,
best to be
boy, does that make
clear as
sense.
possible. Yes, do your best to be as clear as possible. And when you are clear, wow, watch what happens. But
Do
yes,
you
your
ever,
intention.
do you, Keith, do you ever find in your world of spirituality that there are people that want to do blessings for others, but it's not the fact that they're doing it for others as much as they're hoping that the fact that they did the act will give them a blessing? So, in other words, it almost as if the blessing is selfishness. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I find myself, even still to this day, as a spiritual teacher, tell all, I have that same agenda. You know, I grew up with a sister who had a condition. She's no longer here, but she was my greatest teacher of compassion. It wasn't Jesus, it wasn't Buddha, it wasn't anything. It was my sister who people picked on all of her life and criticized her. And now there's a part of me that is my drive, that is my source for doing what I do. So there is an agenda of Keith in it, you can bet, but I do everything I can to find the purity in my heart and launch my agenda from that space. So not only can I feel fulfilled in the doing of it, I also get validated in the return of it when someone says, oh my God, Keith, what you offered to me is changing my life. I deserve that pat on the back because that's validation for me to tell me that's exactly how you continue to do your good work, Keith. But, just check yourself. You know where you stand. Everyone, the truth resonates within everyone. Everyone knows the truth. And you know when you're being absolutely truthful with yourself.
Keith,
There's no other way.
Keith, I have another question.
Go.
So, have I, in my business as a reader for many people, find that there are a lot of people that feel that they give and give and give from the goodness of their heart and soul. But then what they find discouraging is that the shit keeps happening, and they feel ripped off, and some even blame God and say, why? I've done all that I can, all this good stuff. Why is that happening, Keith? Why do you think that happens? Because I have clients that say, you can't blame God for that happening. There's got to be something else going on. So what do you tell people that really go out of their way and find that continuously things take a crap on them?
Why do bad things happen to good people?
Good people, yes.
Well, I understand there are quite a few different phases going from anger or denial to anger. But you have to move through those levels. You have to get on with your life. And it will not happen until you move through that Piscean energy, through that old paradigm. You have to move into the Aquarian of your life, to the season of your life. I understand that you're a good person and you believe it. And that's an amazing thing. Amazing thing. then that's how you should always feel about yourself. So the question is, why do these things keep happening to me? Whether you want to hear the truth or not, the truth is not for comfort. It's a liberator. And if you see it as such, it will liberate you. It is not to medicate you, because it's there to kill your old belief. It's happening to you because you think and you feel this way. Perfect example. I had a friend of mine years ago who was in a relationship with someone who had somewhat of a temperament. She wasn't really sure how to gauge this person, and she felt very, very uncomfortable. So she decided, now that they were sleeping in 2 different rooms, now she decided she's going to sleep, might catch this, with a knife under her bed, living in an illusion, imagining this knife was going to protect her if he decided to snap. Well, it just so happens the next day she calls me to tell me of how he's kind of changing for the worse. And then she proceeded to tell me, well, that's okay. I put a knife under my sofa. And I said, Sherry, what are you doing? She goes, I'm doing this to protect myself. And I said, you're throwing yourself in harm's way. I said, imagine tomorrow if he decides he's not going to work for whatever reason, wants to take a day of his vacation off, and he decides he wants to clean the house and realizes that you've been sleeping under the sofa and he's vacuuming, and he looks under there and he finds this knife. And when you get home from work, he goes, how dare you? How dare you? And a confrontation ensues and it gets heated and you get stuck. The point of this story is, as you think, you so create. If you go through a neighborhood that is deemed unsafe and you decide at the red light to slam your car lock down, what happens if you get seen and someone says, oh my God, I'm insulted? And because of your action, your mindset, your belief of fear and your emotion of fear, and through your action because of such, you create a scenario. Now put these 2 intense scenarios down. Imagine that this is the law that happens in every aspect of your life, from the gross to the subtle. It does not matter. The intention is the same, and the universe will begin vibrating its likeness to you, its partner, to prove to you that you are right.
So let me see if I'm getting you right on this, Keith. What I'm understanding you to say is that no matter how good a person you are, and no matter how good you think you are being to others, maybe subconsciously you're slamming the lockdown in the car symbolically, or doing things that present to the world that you're really not walking your talk.
Yes, and in that case, you're not being good to yourself. You may be good to everybody else, but you're not being good to yourself, because you're the one that's choosing the fear thought, which kicks up the fear emotion, which kicks up the fear action, and which kicks up the fear effect. And so this is why it's important. Yes, and this is why it's important in the political arena, or any arena of your life, be it as a singular or as a collective. We have to become conscious, deliberate creators, because if you can liken God, higher self, Jesus, creator, source, as a pure white light that lives inside of you, as you would liken that to a movie projector. The light doesn't care. The light just shines. And the film in this movie projector is your filter, your beliefs, your emotions, and everything else. And as that light, which really has no responsibility in it whatsoever, shines through you, through the filter of your life, the question you need to ask is, what keeps getting projected on my 3D screen? If you don't like the movie of your life, you need to change the film.
Right. Or you need to change an attitude that you've been carrying around that maybe you're trying to make up for through actions, but it really is about looking deep in your soul and changing what's in there first.
I really like that you use that word, attitude. That is an amazing word. If you pause for one moment and think for 5 seconds about the word attitude and what it really is. Mm-hmm. All it may require is just that alone. For those 2 people who asked that question, those 2 questions a minute ago, it's just a shift. And if you can shift in that way, then everything else becomes extraneous. All the thoughts, how do I do it? Do I have to have all this belief? No, you really, really don't. The belief and the meditation, this is all just ways to achieve such things. But when really it could be just a shift
Yes.
in attitude.
So, Keith, when did you find that? Um, do you go through episodes of your spirituality?
I lost you, Ann.
I'm back.
I'm still
I'm
here.
oh, good. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. I guess it just kind of. So, what I was going to ask is, do you find that you go in artistic, spiritual insanities, where, and by that I mean. I mean, do you find that you go into comfort lulls, and then suddenly, like that inspiration that wrote that book, do you find that you go into episodes where you feel suddenly as if you are at your creative hot point and you have to reach out there and do all these things? Do you ever find those hot points in your life stand out, or are you always consistent?
It doesn't stop.
It
I can't
just
I can't shut it off. If I tried, as they say, what you resist persists. If I tried, it would get louder.
Okay, because there for a while I didn't hear from you, and and then boom, there you were. So I just wondered if maybe there was a new creative book out, or if there was something that you had, and you have done something concerning this, getting it right in a world that may be left. And let's go back to that title, and let's go back to and bring this all back to us, full circle to that now, to what we've been talking about.
What's happening in the world, as I said earlier, is what transformation looks like. It's easy to see ISIS, all these terrorist groups. I can't speak for those people who are near it, because I'm sure not only does it hit home, it hits them literally. But for whatever reasons, this is happening at a distance from everyone else. You have to bring yourself to a place of compassion by all means. And nobody knows why, what happens to people in the world, what is their agreement with reality, what karma might be involved to teach everyone else that is a witness. Everyone that is a witness to my life, what kind of karma is happening in my life as to where they're witnessing me, you, or whoever. But when you look out in the world, again, it's what transformation looks like. That is the world that's dying. It's not going to be long. It's going to happen. There's going to be not only UFO disclosure, there's going to be cosmic disclosure. There's going to be spiritual disclosure, meaning that God is not this being that lives in the clouds above the earth, that it's you, and that you not only have a responsibility and obligation, I guess the correct word would be duty. Because once you become to the realization that this is who I am a divine child of God, and it is my mission to remove my stuff away from me or move through it, then you become empowered, and then you become a lightning rod to change the world. And this is beginning to exponentiate now. So what I invite is that as time goes by, your manifesting ability, conscious of it or not, is going to pick up. So, whatever monsters or troubles you have in your life, I strongly suggest that you clear them, because as time goes by, they're going to happen faster and they're going to happen bigger. And there possibly, God forbid, will come a day in your life when the manifestation of what is unresolved in you becomes so large that you check yourself off of this planet.
Okay. The last part, you need to go by me again, because what that last sentence was seemed to refer to several things in one. Could you please define in more detail that last sentence?
Check yourself off of this planet means that as the energies of this earth and humanity begin to lift, if you are not congruent with said energies and you're still down here without judgment, just the fact of the matter, you're not compatible. So this earth is going to a place of evolution, love evolution. It's going to a place of consciousness, world unity. And if you are not with that program, you can't stay. Very simply
Where
put.
will you go? Where will you go?
You may shift to another paradigm, another earth parallel like this one of a lower vibration, or you may, on some level that you do not even consciously know, check yourself off this planet because things are too intense. As I said, your inner stuff may get so large, you just can't find a way to deal with it. It may create a car wreck, an illness, or whatever it may be. So we might as well all get with the conscious deliberate program.
I'm going to run something by you, I I went through a stage. Remember when everybody said that the world was going to go into another dimension? What was that? 2002 or what? 2000? What year was that?
12.
2012. 12. And I even had people crying and calling me saying they were fearful that they were going to be sucked away into another dimension or another, because they weren't sure about whether their energy level was in sync with what was coming. And I wondered during that time, I noticed everything I saw was white. I saw white cars. I saw white flowers. I saw white walls. Everything that took my focus was white, and not anything to do with race or anything, but just the color, was everything I saw. And and I don't know why, but I kept wondering if there are times in life where we shift into, what did you call, paraguay? What did you say that? I don't know. I know that
Well,
word, but I don't know.
when we shift from an older paradigm, an older belief, an older world, and I think it's very purposeful that you saw white. I think it's very, very metaphorical because you are a psychic and you have the gift of sight. That energy is coming in all different forms for you, and you've seen it as white. Like you said, white not meaning race, white meaning purity. That we're moving again from the age, and I'm not a zodiac astrologer kind of person. I know enough about it to know that they call the old paradigm energies Piscean age. They call the new paradigm energies Aquarian age, but that we have made a shift. There was a lot of hype, like you said. A lot of people are afraid that they may not be congruent with the energies in this shift, and that they may disappear and go to some strange, funky dimension where there's some strange, funky things happening. And I understand
Yeah.
that's all the fear-based media rhetoric stuff that was being projected. But I understand it's a very real place to have a concern for. Absolutely. You want to hope that you can move into the better world. But fear of it will never get you there. Fear will get you exactly where you don't want to go. It throws you directly into its path. And so the truth of it all really is just find it within yourself to be happy for no reason. It's not about religion. It's not about God. It's about you. You. There is nothing else but you. And when you can make yourself full inside, there's nothing else you need to do but to be blissful. Ask yourself, am I doing the blissful things that I could be doing if I was not so overwhelmed with life? Because if your answer is that you're not doing those things, then you're truly not living. You're just providing. And you're not filling yourself with the love and the bliss and the happiness as to why you were incarnated on this planet in the first place. And when it comes time to lay your body down, the last thing you want to do is die with regret.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wasted life.
Yes. So when you say, just to define this again, the title, living your life right in a world that is left. What is the left?
It doesn't mean anything like left wing or anything like that.
No, I get
Yeah,
that.
right. It means the world that it is being left behind. Every one of the old
Oh,
mind,
oh.
yes,
So
getting
you're
yourself,
saying what you just said then. Don't get it right or you'll get left behind.
get yourself right for the world that will be left behind.
Ah, for the
Yeah.
world that will be left
Yes.
behind.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Now I got it.
It's changing. It's happening now. And it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing, but it's hard for some people to see that, because of it's like you say, if you lose yourself in the fear and you lose yourself in the sadness and the debt and the things that you start to make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, by because like attracts like, right?
It's the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
The creator lives in you and projects itself outward. And that's all it does. It does not do anything else. That's all it does. And as it moves through us, you know, life begins to happen. And people say, I didn't create this. And I understand the blame game doesn't go anywhere. So if you really want to change that, if you win, you accept not half, not 85, not 90%, but full responsibility. You are holding the power in your hand, and you're the only one that can ever ensure that anything like this, whatever that this is never going to happen to me again. When you find that kind of passion, that kind of fire in the belly, that kind of sincerity, the universe begins to manifest at your beckoning call.
So Keith, do you think that when positive people, okay, how do I say this? Is the world affected for us personally by who we live our lives with or who we hang out with? In other words, if we are people that are pure at heart or positive or trying to see that, but we find ourselves with people that are always the opposite or seeing the worst, how does that affect our lives?
You are creating it all. I'm hanging out with a group of people. 3 of the 5 are knuckleheads, to use a word not out of a judgment. It's a definition to describe their behavior. I am solely responsible. Now, can I be a master, to use a word, enough to hold the light down? Then it really doesn't matter who I'm around. But if unconsciously I become a part of the group and I'm swayed and influenced by the current of what's happening in this group of 5, yes, it will affect the whole. Absolutely. Unless you become powerful enough and or present enough to be the only one affecting and being the influence of said group.
Do you believe that in order to live that way or be of that mind, do we have to go to church or is there a certain is can we be in meditation and be in church?
Church is a place to hang out with like-minded people and celebrating the beauty of your religion, which is a vehicle to spiritual liberation. Church is not necessary. In fact, church is literally irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant other than for the statement I made about hanging out with some really cool people celebrating God in the way that you choose to with your fellow congregation.
So for the same reason that we just talked about, who you hang out with is your choice. That's what church is for people. But then you may have someone else that is into meditation or into the sense of feeling whole and pure in nature or something. Is that still just as pure? Is that still just as good?
I think meditation in this case is different because even though, well, somewhat different, I understand the idea of going to a church or a congregation to receive information that can change you vibrationally. Absolutely. It's not necessary. You can read a book and do the same thing. You can watch a video and do the same thing. Or you can hang out with friends whenever 2 people are gathered in my name. I am present. I am is present. God is present in everything. God is present in the you that's listening to my voice. God is present in the me that's speaking it. God is present in the chair that's holding up your bottom side right now. It's in everything. And that's the first part of RPM, of recognize, plug in, and manifest. Recognizing life in everything, the sweet smell of a flower, the beautiful sound on a stereo. So it does not require going to church to see the love of God as it moves through everything. It's your breath. If God breathed life into man, every time you breathe, that's why it's important in meditation. They always say it's about breathing, because when you're conscious, deliberate, wanting to breathe, you are bringing in God, and you elevate yourself beyond the ceiling of thought, and you now consciously connected to the cosmic generator that is the animator of everything in existence.
Keith, what say ye about taking two small calls and applying what you have been speaking to their questions? Maya and Leighton, would you be willing?
I will love nothing more.
Okay, and Maya and Leighton, I do want to tell you that we must keep the topic relevant to your question relevant to our topic. So Maya, what can we do from you from Tennessee?
Hi, Maya. You from
Hello?
Tennessee?
Yes, I am.
Where are you from, dear? I'm from Memphis. Hello.
Oh, I'm in Murfreesboro. I'm not way close to that. Memphis
I.
is a little too loud for me.
What can I do for you, loved one?
Well, I'm having some issues with families. Actually not my family, my husband's family. They're trying to get together with him, and I feel uneasy about it just from everything that they've done towards him, and that just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
Would you say that last sentence for me? In other words, are you saying there's conflict because of your presence coming into the family?
Yes, they don't accept our relationship, even though we've been together for 14 years.
All right, dear, you ready for this? Are you sitting down?
Yes.
I'm going to give you one small sentence, and I promise you and your mate, if you make no excuses and you hear what I'm telling you, it will all change, not only for the better, but it will change in your favor. You ready? Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, when I tell you this juicy spiritual tidbit, I don't want you to respond. I want you to pause at least 5 to 10 seconds and really hear what it is I'm telling you. Deal?
Deal.
Get out of the fight.
I like that.
Do you understand?
Yes.
There's nothing else.
I believe that my
Let the
husband
name
needs to hear
calling
that more than me.
let the name calling be. Let the blaming and the pointing fingers be. Don't give it any credence. In fact, say thank you, or just don't even put any energy to it. Step aside energetically. Just step aside. Get out of the fight. Don't be upset when they do that. Just get out. That's simple. Because it takes two to fight. When you get out of it, it will crumble like a castle in the air. And then if they want to be a part of your life, plurally between you and he, they will come on your terms. Hope that works for you, dear. It should. Trust me. Contact me if it does. I'd like to hear your response.
Already. Thank you.
You're blessed.
Keith, that's a very good point. So many people that I talk to are in trauma at work situations, political environments at work, where they find that they start out and everybody is new and shiny, and then as like 3 months goes by and the political positions of everybody starts to take over, that suddenly they find themselves engrossed in this, exactly what you're saying to her, this energy, this fight that they never asked for. So your advice to them would be
Same thing. Just
Yeah.
get out of the fight. I had a girl some years ago. I was playing music live. Keith, every time I bring my children to their father's house with their new girlfriend, the kids come back home and tell me, Mommy, Daddy and his new girlfriend said blah, blah, blah. And she began to fire back, well, you tell your dad. I said, Gina, what are you doing? Get out of the fight. And she did. She understood. 3 weeks later, I had not seen her. It was an ongoing gig. 3 weeks later, she came to the gig and said, oh, my God, Keith, guess what happened? I said, it stopped. She said, yes. I said, did you get out of the fight? She said, yes. So like we made with those analogies of the knife and the car door lock, if you create a fight, you're going to get a fight. You push against a football player, the nature of it is he pushes back. Just stop creating fights.
Or stop feeding into it.
Feeding into it. You can water the weed or you can water the plant. And either one you give your attention to is the one that will grow. There is no other law, really, way of it.
Keith, do you have any short prayer that you like to use?
I'm grateful. I accept, I allow, and I appreciate everything that is more magical than I can ever think beyond that I can create for myself. Just any of these little juicy nuggets, create them. They don't have to be long. They have to be passionate and they have to be sincere because it's not about the words. It may take the words in your mind to help you create an idea, but it's your heart and it's your will. That is what will create that which you really want in your life, be it spiritual enlightenment, be it more money, be it a brand new Ferrari. There is no right all. Should I really ask for a Ferrari? If you want it, yeah, sure. It's yours there. It's there if you want it.
So but what I'm asking is, personally, do you have a short prayer to end the show with? Maybe 1 or 2 minutes long. We have 3 minutes left.
Was there someone else that was supposed to come on 9? Layden?
She left.
Well, blessings to her anyway. The way I pray is first understand that your whole life is a prayer. It's an open-eyed prayer, consciously or not. But when I pray...
We do. Well, Grayson from New Jersey, sorry, we only have 2 minutes left. Just you said that, somebody popped on. Yeah, we have to let you go, Grayson, but... So continue on again, please.
I think that's the answer. That's the prayer. And I think maybe her chiming in was...
Grayson was the prayer?
Is it possible that Spirit
Grayson was our prayer today.
Yes, listening audience. Yes, go ahead, Ann. Go ahead, Ann.
It sounds like grace.
Correct. And that's it. It's allowing grace into your life. And you do that by getting out of your own way. That's the prayer.
Where can people get a hold of you?
KeithAnthonyBlanchard.com or centeroflightradio.com. It's the same website, just interchangeable domain names.
And where is the radio station that they can get you?
It's on the internet, and you can find that every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time at centeroflightradio.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today, and namaste, and just was wonderful to have your insight and to find out how we can prepare ourselves to be right in the world of left.
Thank you, dear. I love your work. You are a bright light in a world that is getting brighter. Please keep up your awesome, phenomenal mission.
And you too, and we will be together again on this show. So thank you.
Peace, love, and light.
Bye. All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you very much, everybody, for being with us today. And again, you can find more information on Keith on the blog for today. You can have his website. And do you give readings? Do you give readings, or do you give advice, or do you?
I do.
Okay, so if you would like to have his inspiring voice and his and all of his great words of wisdom, contact him at the website. And one more time, say it quick.
KeithAnthonyBlanchard.com or centeroflightradio.com. And if you will, listening audience, at the bottom of my opening page, you'll see a subscription form. Fill it out for information about my new program, RPM, Recognize, Plug In, and Manifest. I promise you it will change your life.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Odell at Achieve Radio's Tarot Joy. Come on upstairs. Grab yourself a tapestried pillow and get a down-home, honest reading with 30 years Master Tarot channeling experience. In addition, I will have a weekly spiritual guest from around the world. That's 2 readings per call for you. After the show, I invite you to come on over to thecallingoflight.com. I offer PayPal readings at 15-minute or 30-minute sections of time. All yours. To thecallingoflight.com.